Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and in today's video I wanted to talk about how long does it take to get to T5 as a free-to-play player, and should that be the length, should that be the duration that it takes? And we're going to dive in a little bit deeper here as well into the kind of atmosphere, the ethos of free-to-play players in Kingdom Builders, and hopefully this can be an exciting topic and something that we get to hear your thoughts and feedback on as well. So as always, before we get started, if you enjoy the content, make sure you give us up because it helps out a lot. So the first thing is, let's define and show currently what are the rates for how long it is taking free-to-play players to actually just start T5. And we're going to show you that based on some data that we have right now. So this is me showing you this from, and I'm just going to do a quick little thingamabob so we can have everyone showing here, because when we did our top 25 free-to-play list, we ended up breaking this up just for video purposes. But being able to show it to you now, you'll be able to get a glimpse of where everyone is when it comes to how close are they to T5 for the people that were able to get back to me. And at the moment, we have Ragnar 66 or 666 from TFS, who is the closest. He is expected to be starting his, he will have it unlocked on within 7 days, right? So he's already started his T5 research, meaning that by the 20th, which at that time was 7 days away, meaning that he would have been able to unlock his in 420 days. So that's a year, 35, 55, right? Right, 65, 35, yeah, 35, 55, yeah, okay, I can count. So 1 year, 55 days, right, would be, if that lines up, the fastest that any free-to-play player has unlocked T5, or at least keep in mind the first T5 unit. Now you also have to take into account that the players that are on this top 25 free-to-play list, yes, they have all been vetted by me as well. I talk about this in my top 25 free-to-play video, right, where they have to show me that they still have their Lilia bundle icon on the top right corner, which indicates they haven't spent any money or haven't been gifted any bundles, etc. But we have to consider, or like I said, take into account that these players are in top alliances, right? Some of them. And because of that, we can gauge that they are in mid to high spending alliances. This is not necessarily the average player experience, right? This is more of like the higher end free-to-play experience. And so I think, for example, even you look here like Captain Snowball, right? He's got 3. And I think this is a little bit more closer to like what we're seeing, right? So he has 3 more techs until he gets to T5, right? Until he starts his T5 research. He's 641 days in. He's the longest playing for consecutive logins free-to-play player in the game right now, and also is the strongest, right? He's been playing since Kingdom 1. But he's still 3 techs away at 641 days played, right? So he's probably closer to 2 years at that point, right? By the time he unlocks, give or take, than the year and 55 days. You also have the next closest person, which is Doremi, who's playing in ROG. Snowball's in NA for Nova Avengers. I think this is Ronin Guard. But he's 8 techs away. He's 393 days in. So, yeah, I think this is probably something where it's going to get to maybe like 550, 600 days, give or take, just depending on speed up saved and, what's, with the amount that he has left, which again are, long duration techs. And we'll keep up and see how that goes. And I'm planning to basically keep a chart of when everyone unlocks their first T5 unit, and then we're going to look at averages as free-to-play starts to do that, so we can really figure out how long does it take, like what's the fastest, what's the longest, what's the average in between, what power tier of alliances, spending tier of alliance are they in, because I think that'll help us get a better gauge on how long does it really take on average, and then the high and low ends for free-to-play to just unlock their first T5 unit. With this being said, it raises a bigger question, and that question is, how long should it take free-to-play players to get to T5. And when I say that, it's really more about getting to T5 as like a max, right? Being able to unlock all T5. Because the way I view Call of Dragons is very similar to something like World of Warcraft. And I've talked about this on stream and in other videos before, is that Call of Dragons, in a lot of ways, has similarities to World of Warcraft. And one of the most important ones, as it pertains to this topic, is when I was considering playing WoW, I remember I had some friends that were really into the game. And they would always tell me, you know, boss, you just have to go and play, get to your max level account, and then you can start enjoying more of the game. And though I didn't really understand what they were saying at the time, this was something I had always consistently heard, is you get to max level, it opens up more of the game, you get to enjoy more. And that really resonated with me, because as I've been playing Kingdom Builders for a while now, it is really spot on. Whereas if you have the opportunity, and we're talking going out and fighting, going out and doing the PvP, which is really the most enjoyable aspect of Kingdom Builders. And as we all know, right, participating mainly in KvK because it allows for everyone, up to everyone, to participate in Kingdoms. And so then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, am I more willing to go out and fight if I have all my T5 unlocked, if I have max building level, if I'm at max tech, and I'm building all nothing but T5, and it's like, okay, now, you know, or am I more willing to go out and fight when I have T4, when I have T3, when I have T2, and I'm not at max building level, I'm not at max tech? And I think the answer is pretty simple, right? Players want, because you also have to think about this from like a resource income outgoing position, is that if you're not at max building level and you're not at max tech, you have a set amount of resources that you are able to gather per day, per week, per month. And if you have a set amount of resources that you're gathering, or a max that you can gather, then those resources are being distributed between you upgrading 2 buildings at a time, you upgrading 2 research techs at a time, and so you have 4 outgoing streams of resource from your income. Now, if you have these buildings at max level and you have your tech at max level, now those 4 outgoing resource streams are now being redirected towards training and healing, right, for the most part. And this is where you now get into this territory of now your account is a lot more PvP focused, because you don't have to spend resources in other areas and you get to focus fully on fighting capabilities and capacity. And this is why it all kind of connects, right? I, for one, am of the belief that I would rather, and I'm talking like fighting in the open field, I'm not talking about being able to go and fight and support. Like, for example, you don't have to have a max level account or have max buildings, max tech, all your T5s unlocked to go out and hit a flag, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about fighting in the open field with your units versus others, right? And VIP 15 is another conversation, because I'm sure some people would like to be there too as well. But for bare minimum purposes, yeah, I'll go get her. And so anyways, this is just all to culminate and to say that I am just of the belief that I would rather go out and fight in the open field against other players, regardless of how strong they are, if I'm already at max building level, max tech level, and I have all my T5s unlocked. It's just more of a comfortability and more of a confidence feeling for me, and I just think it makes a lot more sense. And so then it kind of brings us back to the end of the video / main question, which is how long should it take for players to unlock and to get to this point? And the fact is that we're already probably going to see something like 1.5 years, 2 years as being an average. I just personally think that's too long. I think it really should be something like 6 months to maybe 9 months on how long it takes for you to max your buildings out, max your tech out, and unlock and have all your T5s unlocked. Because keep in mind, free-to-play is still never going to be able to train as many troops and heal as much as someone who is spending on the game. But if you can get more people to that end game state, that late game stage, more people will be willing to fight, more people will participate, and you'll see a lot higher conversion and sustain rate for players playing and more people reaching these max levels because it doesn't take years to do. And again, right, those things can always be adjusted. I think if you're going to scale it, you start high and you work your way low, right? So it's like, maybe you try to fine tune it to maybe where it takes a year. You see how that plays out. Okay, maybe you need to go down to 9 months. Personally, I think like 6 to 9 months is a really good window. I don't think it should take a year or over a year in order to hit that. But again, those are my thoughts, right? I think there's a lot more long-term benefits and pros versus cons. And again, would love to hear your thoughts on if you agree or disagree, and let me know why. That's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.